How did you get interested in high latitude sailing? And what do you enjoy about high latitude sailing and what are the tough parts?
It's the diversity of going into the ice where nobody else has been. In 2019, Pangaea, my boat, became the boat that has been the highest up into the polar ocean. And that means obviously the ice is melting, but at the same time, to be able to have a four-wheel drive, a boat that is used like a SUV, like a four-wheel drive of the oceans, to be able to go in the ice, to sail up the rivers, to cross the oceans, gave me the possibility to go and discover new things. So I'm curious. It's the curiosity that pulls me to places that's remote where other people's don't have. It's the risk, not that I'm afraid to die or I'm not afraid to die, but that risk is what makes me feel alive. If I take a risk, I feel I'm alive. If I sometimes sit at home, I don't have that same feeling of being alive. So that's become a problem for me.
What's the tough part of high latitude sailing?
Tough part is that you're never sure to come back home. You're never sure when that ice will form around the boat and crush you. So all the knowledge that you need, all the experience that you need, the decisions that you make should be for the safety of the vehicle and for the boat and the crew. And that is where high latitude sailing becomes interesting. It's not just crossing an ocean. It's not just another storm. It's a storm in ice and nature being stronger than you that can decide at any moment to just wrap up your boat and sink it.
In the early part of 2020, that is last year, you sailed to Greenland and Svalbard. What did you aim to achieve?
After the COVID, first of all, it was to go out there and return to the polar regions. But at the same time, we decided to do a lot of research on whales because of the whaling and the whales not being hunted due to the COVID and the boats not leaving. We now had an opportunity to record whale songs, to be able to compare before and after COVID, when they were hunted and when they're not hunted, to be able to take the DNA by flying with drones into the spray when they breathe, to be able to see that they're less stressed and more accumulating the whales in this feeding and mating area that they always used. When they were hunted, they stayed away from it. After 4 months, they all came back to it, simply because they felt that it's safe again.
Just describe your relationship with your second home, that is your sailboat.
I think it's become my first home because in 5 years, I only spent 32 days in my own bed. So not 2 days, one after the other, but 2 days here, 5 days there, 3 days. Yeah, so when your life is an adventurer, you go to where you feel the most happy, where you feel that you can achieve things, where you feel that you've got a purpose in life. And I'm a privileged person, and really I'm happy to say that to be able to be out on the ocean is where I want to be, and that I know for sure. I don't care about having many things. I just care about having a life that's lived to the fullest.
You have successfully scaled 8,000 meter peaks, Himalayan peaks like Gasherbrum 1, 2, Broad Peak, Makalu, without supplementary oxygen. And that's quite a feat. All mountaineers and people who follow mountaineering will know what kind of a feat is that. What happened to your K2 expedition, and will you make one more attempt to conquer the K2?
Last year, when we went up to K2, or 2019, we turned back at the bottleneck. When you climb without oxygen, obviously you've got 7% of oxygen in the death zone, and you can only stay alive for 24 hours in that death zone. It's a little bit different when you climb with bottled oxygen and fixed ropes. So we're not tied to the mountain. We don't climb with fixed ropes. We make our own track. And the day we did the summit attempt, the weather was perfect. We felt strong. We felt that we could do it. But then the wind picked up at 8,000 meters. The jet stream lowered a little bit and then hits the top of the Himalayas. And it just became stronger and stronger. In those temperatures without oxygen, we freeze much quicker as well. So blood circulation slows down because you don't have enough oxygen in your blood. And the distribution of oxygen through your blood is what heats your body, basically the blood flowing. And we started freezing a little bit of our hands and our toes. Then going into the bottleneck with that very strong wind, there was an accumulation of snow that would create an avalanche. And the moment we went into that accumulation of snow, just kind of sitting there waiting to slide, I felt that it became unsafe. And then I decided to turn back. For me, it was most probably the greatest greatest disappointment to be able to turn back. But, you know, the mountain is there and will stay there. I only have one life. So the moment I can go back is the moment that I can try again. Yes, I would love to go back. Yes, for me, it would be a mountain that I would be very proud to climb. But at the end of the day, it's nature that decides for me, and I have to follow nature.
Do you feel what you have been doing for decades in sustainable travel and endurance now comes in sharper focus in the pandemic world where people have experienced their own isolation?
I think that it's given us time to reflect. It's given us time to basically take a step back and say, where are we heading to? Question our lives and question the future of our planet. We all have a role to play. We all have a big responsibility towards the future of the planet. In 30,000 days that we live, but the average age around the world is 30,000 days to the age of 82 years old. That 32,000 days is really short in a lifetime. But that 32,000 days that we have to live, we can make big changes.
Right.
And if we all decide to personally invest in the future of our planet, that is when the changes can be made. We can't always wait for the politicians. We can't always wait for the industry. We've got to personally, all of the 7 billion people on the planet, decide that we want the world to change or we want the world to end. And that's fine for me. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm living my life to the fullest of my capabilities. It's not nice to say, but I'm not afraid of COVID. I'm afraid of not living. I don't want to be confined. I want to become stronger. I want to be able to fight the COVID by making my body stronger, because after COVID is going to be something else. And we're all running to hide in buildings, but wherever we go, we're not getting away from it. We're running towards it instead of just taking on the challenge and facing this challenge. And if people have to die, and I'm included, then I will die. I'll die happily, because one day I know I'm going to die.